What is up, sexy beasts? Crazy Rabbit here, and today we're going to be comparing the trench gun to the KRM and looking at both these weapons on round 50, so let's go ahead and get this shit started. So the first thing I'm going to do, as per usual, is let you guys watch and listen to both these weapons, both the unupgraded versions and the upgraded versions, so here you go. So I decided to compare both these weapons just because they're both pump action shotguns, and I was like, fucking why not? So the first thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the fire rates when we actually start firing at the exact same time. I make sure both these weapons actually have 6 shots because the KRM does carry a little bit more ammo. It actually carries 8 while the trench gun only carries 6. And if we start shooting at the exact same time, their fire rates are really similar. Like the KRM might be like a half second or a second faster, but in actuality they're like literally the exact same. You're really not going to notice the difference. And it's really weird because like when you pump the trench gun, it seems like that takes forever to do, but with the KRM it seems like it's really fast. But when we actually compare them side by side, they're like literally almost the exact same thing. And I just find that pretty interesting because it seems like the trench gun's going to take like 20 years to fire. And I honestly thought it was going to be like 10 times slower than the KRM, but compare them side by side, they're like the exact same. Now you always can put attachments on the KRM. You can kind of design the gun to how you like to play zombies. We're just going to be looking at this bare bones style, no attachments or anything, because that's just straight up unfair. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the reload speed. So when I start reloading at the exact same time, the reload speeds are like kind of the same. Now you might be looking at it and saying, oh well, the KRM is obviously slower because it takes a little bit longer for the KRM to actually finish reloading. Well, that's just because the KRM carries 2 more shells than the trench gun. If you try to like look at it and see when do they both actually get to 6 shells, they're like the exact same again. Now of course, like the overall reloading speed, the KRM is a little bit slower just because it carries more ammo, but I bet if they both only carried 6 shells, the reloading speed would be the exact same. Alright, and the next thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the accuracy. So I think the trench gun has a little bit more spread than the KRM. I feel like the KRM is more accurate than the trench gun. And for a shotgun, that can be a good and or bad thing. It really all kind of depends on how you like to play zombies. If you kind of want to stand back a little bit and hit multiple zombies, then the trench gun might be for you. If you want to get up close and personal and kind of just focus on one zombie, then the KRM might be for you. But I was definitely noticing that the KRM had a tighter spread than the trench gun. Even when you're ADSing, the trench gun was kind of going all over the place, while the KRM was definitely more compact. And again, neither of these things are a good or bad thing. It really all kind of depends on how you play zombies and which kind of shotgun you want to use. But to me, personally, I like how the KRM is just because that's how I play zombies. I just really want to focus on that one zombie and not like a whole horde. But you might be different, and that's totally fine. Now the last thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the range. Now I thought this was an awesome idea when I thought of it. I'm like a fucking genius over here. So I tried to shoot the wall from like different ranges, and I was like, okay, I can hit it from here, but I can't hit it from here. And you can tell if you hit the wall because you'll see like the sparks, so the pellet's actually hitting the wall. So with a trench gun, you can actually hit that wall from the power switch. And with the KRM, it can't hit it from the power switch. You have to actually go up a little bit more to like the box location. So when it comes to range, the trench gun does have a little bit better range than the KRM. Now they're both shotguns, so you're not going to be shooting from far away unless there's like an insta-kill or anything. So this test is kind of pointless, but still, I thought it was pretty interesting. The KRM does not have as good of range as the trench gun does. All you have to do is sort of get into different locations and try to shoot the wall. If you see sparks, you'll know you've hit the wall. So if you ever want to know what a gun's range is, just start shooting at walls. If you see sparks, you know you're hitting it. That's the last thing we're going to look at before we get to the upgraded versions is how much ammo these things hold, both unupgraded and upgraded. So the unupgraded trench gun is going to hold 60 in stock and 6 in the actual gun. And when you actually upgrade it, it's still only going to hold 60 in stock and 10 actual shells. Now when we go over to the KRM, unupgraded, it does carry less ammo. It's only going to carry 48 in stock, and it's actually going to be able to carry 8 in the gun. But when we actually upgrade it, it does get a little bit more ammo than the gut shot. The Dagon's Glare is actually going to hold 64 in stock and 16 in the actual weapon. So it does carry 10 extra shells, which I mean for a shotgun is actually quite a lot. For any other weapon that would carry like 10 more bullets, that's literally nothing. For a shotgun, every bullet counts, so those 10 extra shots are definitely a huge advantage that the KRM does have. Alright, so now that we have both those weapons upgraded, let's look at all these tests over again, and if we start looking at the fire rate, this is where the KRM shines. I love the KRM because it has such a fast fire rate for a pump action shotgun. This thing is incredibly fast. If we start shooting at the exact same time, it just blows the trench gun or gut shot out of the water. This weapon is so goddamn fast, and I just love it. The KRM is like definitely one of my favorite shotguns of all time. I'm not trying to put down the trench gun. It's still a good weapon, but it just cannot compete with that KRM's fire rate, man. As soon as you upgrade it, that KRM is just on a whole nother level, while the trench gun is still kind of on the same level it always was. And if we look at the reload speed with the upgraded versions, the KRM is definitely faster. Now you might be looking at this and saying, well, hey, wait a minute, they actually have the same reload speed. Well, the KRM does carry more ammo, so technically I guess the KRM is faster. When you just look at like straight load speed and not how much ammo it has, yes, they are basically the same, but when you actually take into consideration that the KRM does carry 6 more shots, you can definitely say that the KRM has a faster reload speed. Now when it comes to overall accuracy, nothing really changes. They kind of stay the exact same. The trench gun's going to be more spread out, while the KRM is going to be more tight and compact. And again, it all kind of depends on how you like to play zombies. You could prefer the trench gun just because you like to sort of hit more zombies, or you could prefer the KRM just because you want to focus on killing that one zombie. It all really depends on how you like to play. So the last thing we're going to be looking at is going to be the range again. So I started shooting the trench gun from all over the place, and I kind of got to this back door right here that leads to the last teleporter, and it was actually hitting the wall from here. Now I never opened this door, so the trench gun could keep shooting from farther away. I really don't know, but this is kind of where I stopped, because the KRM on the other hand, its range didn't really go up. It kind of stayed the exact same. So the trench gun did get a much farther range, while the KRM sort of stayed the exact same. And again, you're never going to be using shotguns from far away anyway, so this test is kind of pointless, but it's still pretty interesting. Alright, and last but not least, before we look at both these weapons on round 50, here's just both weapons with speed cola and double tap. The KRM, man, once you get double tap and speed cola, this weapon is like, I think, one of the best weapons in zombies. It's so fucking good. The trench gun gets pretty good, while the fucking KRM gets absolutely amazing. It is so fast. You can just pop off so many shots when you have double tap and speed cola. The KRM is just nowhere near the trench gun. It's so far ahead, and I think, in all honesty, it's completely unfair. Alright, so now that we've got all that done, let's actually look at both these weapons on round 50. We'll start with the trench gun. So I actually made a video of the modded trench gun too, and I think that and the World War trench gun are like the exact same. It's not going to do anything on round 50. The trench gun is one of those weapons that everyone has like great memories of it, and everyone thinks it's like the best weapon ever, because I made a video like the top 5 shotguns or something a while back, and everyone in the comments kept asking, where's the trench gun? Where's the trench gun? The trench gun on high rounds is not good whatsoever. It is not even that good of a weapon on low rounds just because it has such a slow fire rate. Even when upgraded, it's still really slow. Like, the trench gun's a fun weapon to use, and I can see why a lot of people liked it, but in all honesty, I think the double-barreled shotgun is probably a better weapon. The trench gun is a fun weapon to use, but when you want to talk about like effectiveness, in all honesty, I would just stay far, far away from it. I mean, I love the weapon. It's so much fun to use. It sounds absolutely amazing, but we have to be real here. It's just not a good weapon to have on high rounds. While the KRM, on the other hand, it's actually a pretty good weapon. It has such a fast fire rate. It's actually pretty strong. I think it actually is a little bit stronger than the trench gun. Not by a lot, but it is actually stronger. And it carries more ammo, and it has double tap 2.0. So on round 50, this weapon is actually going to kick some ass, while the trench gun is just going to be struggling over there to actually get one kill. So when it comes to which weapon is the better weapon to have on round 50, the KRM is definitely the better weapon. When it comes to which weapon do I prefer, looks and sound wise, the trench gun. Actual usability, definitely the KRM. The KRM is an amazing weapon to have on high rounds. Takes out the Panzer really quick, it takes out zombies pretty quick for a shotgun, and once you actually get all your perks set up with this weapon, it's an absolute monster. And I would definitely recommend this to anyone who's going for high rounds. And especially put those attachments on this KRM, because it gets so much faster when you have attachments on. It's just not even fair. Those zombies are going to go down so quick. So I'm very curious to know, which weapon do you guys happen to prefer more? Not which weapon do you guys think is better, just which weapon do you guys prefer? So if you guys could, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Peace.